Are you ready to stock your pantry for a plant-based diet? There are several reasons to do so. It will save you time, it will save you energy with less trips to the grocery store, and it also gives you more creative options for tasty meals. Here are some options for breakfast. Some cold dry cereals. These would be hot cereals. Pancake mix, though you could make it yourself. And some different milks that you would put on your cereal. Here are some whole grains that can form the base of many meals. We have quinoa, millet, black rice, brown rice, amaranth, barley, and wild rice. Nuts and seeds can be added to any meal. They're very high in protein, and they're also fabulous snacks. If you're keeping nuts for more than a month, put them in the refrigerator. Here are some examples. Pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, almonds, and walnuts. You could also have cashews, pecans, Brazil nuts, pine nuts, and peanuts. Beans are also a great base for meals. They're high in protein and fiber. Here are some examples. You can often buy mixes of beans for soup. These are red lentils, pinto beans, black beans, and green lentils. You'll need to plan ahead for these because they are dried. They also come in cans. Many choices. We have black, northern beans, and garbanzos. And for a quick meal, baked beans. For quick, nutritious meals, have some pasta and pasta sauce on hand. Choose whole grains such as brown rice, whole wheat, buckwheat, and sprouted grains. Soup can also be a quick and easy meal. If you have vegetable stock on hand, just add fresh or frozen veggies from the refrigerator. Or if you're really in a hurry, canned soup. Here are some condiments that are just good to have around. Some sweeteners might include brown rice syrup, agave nectar, natural sugar, and molasses. These could be used in baking, with your tea, in your oatmeal. Oils for cooking are also important. Some are for flavor. Vinegar is good for flavor, as is tamari. Tahini is a good spread for toast, but it's also good for Middle Eastern food. And other good spreads for toast are jam and almond butter. You could also have peanut butter. Tomatoes and tomato paste are good for bases of anything, such as chili. Nutritional yeast is a good base for a cheese sauce. It's very nutty and very high in protein. Flax meal is a great source of omega-3. You could pretty much put it in anything. And it's always good to have a little extra tofu on hand in case you've run out. Herbs and spices are nutritious and also make your food taste good. Here are some examples of seeds, spices, herbs, and blends. If you can't decide what to use, go for the blend. Salt we consider a seasoning. Use it sparingly and choose unrefined sea salt. If you like to bake, here are some things you'll need in your pantry. For quick breads such as pancakes and muffins, you'll need baking powder. For sweeter breads, chocolate and vanilla, and whole wheat pastry flour will make those breads nice and light. If you like to bake bread, use whole wheat flour, and you could supplement that with rye, and don't forget your yeast. For additional flavors and textures, you could use garbanzo flour, which could also be made into falafels. Soy flour will enhance your bread with extra protein, and of course cornmeal for cornbread. Here are two specialty condiments you might want to have in your pantry. Sea vegetables are high in minerals, and they're good to add to soups, salads, and stir-fries. Kombu aids in digestibility when cooked with beans. Other sea vegetables include hijiki and wakame. It's always good to have some snacks in your pantry. Dried fruit is a good nutritious snack, as are bars that you could take with you. These are fruit-based and also nut-based. Tea is a good thing to have during the day. Have a nice variety available. For breakfast today, we're going to have something very easy to prepare. It's muesli. We'll have muesli with berries and some grapefruit. Muesli, by definition, is a combination of grains, and this one has a lot of dried fruit. You'll need a half a cup of muesli, some berries, and these are blackberries, and rice milk or whatever milk of your choice. For lunch today, we're going to have pita bread stuffed with falafels. Falafels are ground up garbanzo beans with herbs and spices. They're usually deep fried, but we'll also show you how to pan fry them and bake them. You'll need 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of onion and 1 clove of garlic, 1 teaspoon of tamari, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 cup of fresh parsley, 1 can or 1½ cups of garbanzo beans, and 1/4 cup of garbanzo flour. Put all the ingredients except the garbanzo flour and baking powder into a food processor. Mix. Add the baking powder and the garbanzo flour and pulse to mix it in. The dough should stick together. Scoop with a tablespoon to form into balls. Flatten them slightly. Heat an oiled pan over medium-high heat and brown them on both sides. Or, for a low-fat option, bake them at 400 degrees for 20 minutes, turning halfway through the baking process. I'll show you how to make tahini sauce to go with the falafels today. Tahini is ground sesame seeds. You'll need 2 tablespoons of tahini, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, we'll use 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and 1/4 cup of water. Cut off the top of a pita bread and open. Insert lettuce, 2 falafels, tomatoes, cucumbers, 1 more falafel, and smother with tahini sauce. For dinner tonight, we'll be having stuffed acorn squash and steamed Brussels sprouts. We'll be using 2 cups of whole wheat bread croutons, 1/2 cup of onion, 2 acorn squash, 1/2 cup of carrot, 1/2 cup of walnuts, 1/2 cup of almonds, 1 cup of celery, 1/2 cup of water, 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary, 1 teaspoon of sage, 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, and about 1/4 cup of chopped fresh parsley. Cut the squash in half and scoop out the seeds. Scoop out a little more of the squash to make more room for stuffing. Heat an oiled pan over medium-high heat and cook the onions, the carrots, and the celery. Cook until the onions are soft. Add the nuts and parsley and the rest of the squash and cook for another couple of minutes. Add the spices and then add the croutons and the water. The stuffing should be moist. Stuff each half of the acorn squash. Cover with foil, cook at 350 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes. I'll show you how to make a cheese-like sauce to put on our stuffed squash and Brussels sprouts. It's made with nutritional yeast, which you could purchase at your natural food store. You'll need 3 tablespoons of flour, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 2 tablespoons of non-hydrogenated spread, 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast, and 2 cups of rice or almond milk. Whisk about 1/2 cup of almond milk into the flour. Stir until there are no lumps. Heat the rest of the almond milk, add and dissolve the nutritional yeast. Add the spices and the flour mixture and bring to a boil. Turn off the heat, add the non-hydrogenated spread, and it's done. Wash 2 cups of Brussels sprouts. Cut off the ends and cut a shallow cross into each one. Steam for 5 to 7 minutes. Serve with your stuffed squash and smother with the sauce. Enjoy!